some goods today from Japan that I'm going to be sharing in this haul video. Almost everything is from my proxy Nyokyo of items that I ordered from Mercari Japan, Animate, Surugaya, and Toranana. But then I do have one item from Ami Ami that I just got in that I'll be sharing in this haul as well. So as soon as I got my big package in from Japan, I just immediately ripped it open because one of the edges of this side of the box was completely torn down the side. So as soon as I got it home, I just wanted to make sure everything was safe, nothing was damaged, and nothing was missing. So I just went ahead and got everything unwrapped while I was at it. And now I just have it neatly stacked here, ready to go through it all. So I'm going to go ahead and go through everything now. And as usual, I will have timestamps below. So feel free to use those if you want to jump around to whatever interests you. But to start, I'll start with this big acrylic plate that I got in this order. I'm so happy to have this now. It is official art from the series Yakuza Fiance Raisei wa Tanagai. And I actually have had my eye on this for a while. A couple of my friends have this acrylic plate, and I knew it would just be a matter of time before I picked it up too, because I like both of these guys in this series. And I really like the kind of dark, dramatic illustration. But I just hadn't put in the effort to search for a secondhand listing, so I finally was in a Raisei mood and went and did the search, partially because the anime is airing now, and I was thinking I need to search for it before the series gets even more popular and someone else snags it. So glad to have this now, and I forgot to show the back, but it just has two legs that go through on each side and those prop it up. I'm not sure yet where I'm going to put it on my shelves because right now the shelf that my volumes are on, it doesn't really have space for this to just sit in front of them. So I'm going to have to brainstorm how to make this fit on my shelves. The next series that I got a couple items from is Kono Oto Tomare. So this is a series that does not have an English release yet. I have been collecting it in full in Japanese because I love this series. It has an anime adaptation that I love as well. But this is one of my top favorite series. It follows high school students that play in koto clubs. This is one of the rival schools of the main school that the series follows. Actually, it's funny that I have the two illustrations side by side that are very similar of the kids with their kotos, but this magazine cover, I had to get it. So one of the recent issues of Jump Square, Kono Oto Tomare got the cover illustration, and I loved this illustration. The mangaka posted it on Twitter, and so I had to get it. I am trying not to collect a lot of magazine issues because I don't have a lot of space for magazines on my shelves, especially for series that aren't on shelves that have high space above them. But the only two series that I collect the magazine issue covers for are Love of Kill from the Comic Gene issues and Love Nest from the Dear Plus issues. Those are the only ones that I'm trying to collect in full. But this is an illustration I had to have, so. I love these kids. But volume 31, this is the latest volume that came out a few months ago, and I'm a really big fan, of course, of the story. I love the story. It's so wholesome, found family elements, really moving character development, friendship themes. But then just also, I really love the mangaka's art style. But I don't want to show any spoilers, but I'll just show one spread of illustrations of the kids to kind of show what the art style is like. But really hoping that this series will get an English print release at some point. I want it so badly, but also just highly, highly recommend the anime. And the soundtrack is so beautiful. I never knew what this instrument sounded like until I got into this series. And it's just a beautiful instrument, the koto, and I am just in love with this universe and with this story. Next, I got a couple merch items from a series that has an upcoming English release that I'm really, really excited about. So the series Firefly Wedding was recently picked up by Viz Media, and it's going to be releasing Volume 1 in January 2025. I'm so excited. I've been reading the series digitally, and I love it. I do have a bit of merch for the series already. I have a few acrylic standees and a canvas print. I also have this series in Japanese because I was collecting it before it was picked up for an English release. But I saw this new art for the characters, and of course I had to get them. I actually thought these were prints though, so when they arrived and they were like little cards, I found that kind of funny. But I don't mind. If I knew, I would have wanted to have them still, but. This is a historical set series that follows an assassin and the daughter of a wealthy family. The daughter is kidnapped and becomes kind of dependent on this man helping her, but he is not the most stable person. He is pretty wild, and the story in general is quite wild. So really looking forward to the English release and hoping that the series will do well too in English so that it will have more opportunity for merch to come over to be released by the English publisher. But happy to have these little art foil prints. Next, I have a couple items from Hat Atelier, and this is the Japanese Volume 2. And the reason that I got this is because the special edition came with an art booklet. So I've read this series about a month ago, and I enjoyed it. I really liked the art style in the manga, and as you can see from this wall of books over here, I am an art book collector. So immediately upon catching up in the manga, I wanted to hunt down the bits of art releases that were out for the series. So I knew about this Volume 2 special edition booklet and went ahead and picked it up right away. And it's really nice. It's just a thin booklet. But I am such a sucker for color illustrations and just getting extra art and designs and content. So I'm happy to have this now. I haven't started collecting the manga at all because Kodansha just announced that they'll be releasing a box set next year. So I'm kind of weighing back and forth if that's what I would be interested in, waiting until that box set releases, or maybe picking up the singles off of someone who is unhauling them so that they can get the box set. I'm not sure yet. But I also, in my last haul video, I picked up this French art book as well from the French publisher that was released with the Volume 13 special edition in French. And this one too is a pretty nice little booklet, and it has different art than this booklet. But in my previous video, I did flip through this one as well. So really glad I was able to find this though, because it did release quite a while ago, but on Mercari Japan, there were quite a few listings. So glad I was able to snag it. And then another special edition that I picked up for another art book is Oresama Teacher. I bought the Volume 29 special edition, again in Japanese, so that I could get the art book. And this is one that had a variant cover for Volume 29. So the Witch Hat volume didn't have a variant cover, so this is just the regular cover for it. But this one had a variant cover. But then I got it so that I could get a hold of this art book. So this is another one that I read about a month ago. And after finishing it, I found out that it had an art book, and I had to go and find a copy immediately. I really enjoyed this series. I read it over the course of a couple weeks in September and October. But it follows a high school girl who is a delinquent, the head delinquent at her school. But she gets expelled because she's caught in a conflict with another school. And she transfers to a different school that will accept expelled students. So it has a rough crowd of students that attend there. But going to that school, she wants to turn over a new leaf and leave her delinquent ways behind and just be a normal girl. But it isn't easy because all the people that she's drawn to or who are drawn to her at the new school all are kind of delinquents, so. But there's a bit of mystery as there are things happening behind the scenes in the school that she works together with other students and a teacher to try to solve those things. It's really funny. I laughed a lot while reading it. And I was a little surprised because this is a Viz title and it was released through the Shoujo Beat imprint, but it's not really a romance series. It is more about friendship and camaraderie, and I really liked that. But it's by the same mangaka, maybe you could tell, the same mangaka who did Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. And you can see their style in the character designs, but then just also the humor. I find Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun really funny, and so then I found this really funny as well. But it was a different type of humor because this was more about delinquents and just the challenges that they have, whereas Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun is about a high school boy who is a mangaka. But yeah, really glad that I found out about this art book and was able to find a copy. As soon as I found out about it, I was like, oh no, I am not going to be able to find a listing. But there were a couple on Mercari Japan, so really glad that I have it now in my collection. Next, I have a doujinshi, but I consider it canon content for this series, What Did You Eat Yesterday? Because it is a doujinshi written by the mangaka herself. So What Did You Eat Yesterday is a seinen series that follows two men who are in a long-term relationship, and it focuses heavily on cooking the meals that they share together every day, as well as the challenges that they face as they are aging through their 40s and into their 50s, the relationships with their parents and coworkers. I really like this series. I do own the volumes, and I've been picking up the doujinshi as well. So this is the 9th one. I do have 2 anthologies that cover DJs 1 to 3 and then DJs 4 to 6. So I was going to wait until the mangaka released the next anthology of 7, 8, and 9, but I wanted to just get a single and just see what I thought about the quality of it and maybe just collect them as singles instead of anthologies, but I'm still not sure. But the ones that I'm missing now are 7 and 8. But the main series is not explicit, it's all ages. But then these doujinshi are rated 18 plus, so they do have spicy content and focus more on the physical and emotional relationship between these two men. And then I got a couple other goods from another BL series that I really, really like. So I wasn't sure about this when I ordered it because it was a bonus paper release, and a lot of the bonus papers will be like very small. So I was surprised when I got this and opened it and it was a big sheet, and it's actually from an exhibition, the mangaka's exhibition for their 15th anniversary. And these shikishi boards are also from that exhibition as well. But I'm really happy to have these now. I love this little bonus paper that it has little AU scenarios. So like a historical AU, a cafe AU, and then a gangster AU. Asahi is one of my favorite characters. And so getting to see him in these different settings. But then the shikishi boards too. I already have 3 of the mangaka shikishi boards from her exhibition. So these are the 3 that I've gotten in earlier hauls. And these are characters from her series Love Nest, Asahi and Masato, who I love. I love them so much. But then I was missing these ones, so this one has Asahi and Naru. Naru is in a few of the series Change World, Love Nest, and Engage. And then this one here that has the couple from Sayonara Game and Change World, and then the couple from Love Nest and Love Nest Second. So Love Nest is one of my favorite series, and I adore these 2 guys, Asahi and Masato, so I had to get these ones as well. Next from the series Xenoblade Chronicles, I have a doujinshi that is for my husband. It's rated all ages, but I'm not gonna flip through it. But this is a game series that we really like, and there are a lot of characters in it that we both really like. So it is one that he collects art books, guidebooks, and doujinshi, and fanzines and anthologies. So this is just another one that he's adding to his collection. I think this is a sequel release, and he does have the first one as well. Okay, next, a couple items from Bungo Stray Dogs. So I got a few paper goods. So Mori is one of my favorite characters in Bungo Stray Dogs. So my favorite characters are Fukuzawa, Oda, Mori, and Fukuchi, and Rampo. But I was noticing that I was kind of lacking in my merch and art of Mori. So I wanted to pick up a few things. I already had Fukuzawa's 5th anniversary art print, so I wanted to get Mori's so that they could kind of match in style. And then also the bonus letter releases. I already have Fukuzawa's and Oda's, and so I wanted to get Mori's as well, especially after I saw a translation of what his letter said. It was so, not funny, but just such his personality. It was just perfect, so I wanted to have this one as well. And then along with the Mori letter card, I got Yosano's, and this one is for my husband and his collection. He has her Japanese collection of pieces of her work, of the actual writer's work, with the Bungo Stray Dogs cover illustration. So since I was getting Mori's, I wanted to just grab hers as well, and then he can have that to add to his little collection on his shelves. And then the last thing for Bungo Stray Dogs is this fan-made doujinshi anthology. These are the contributors, and 2 of them are artists that I follow on Twitter. But this is 18 plus, so I'm not going to flip through it. But it's really funny. It's kind of an absurd premise about them being dropped into a hotel together, and they have to complete various tasks before they're able to exit. And this anthology is both comic and text, so it will switch back and forth where there will be a few pages of comics and then a few pages of text. So I have already flipped through it, and I'm going to need to get my translator out and go through and read some of the text sections, but I appreciate the silliness and glad to have this one now. I actually am trying to collect all of the doujinshi by one of the 2 artists that I mentioned. And I have one of their other works that is also part of an anthology. So they have 2 more DJs that I'm trying to get a hold of that I just keep refreshing my searches and watching for new listings or secondhand listings to go up so that I can get those ones. Okay, merch from 2 more series. And first is One Piece. I feel like I can't make an order from Japan without getting something of Sanji. So first, I just have a couple trading cards of Sanji. I am not a completionist with the One Piece trading card game. I only collect Sanji cards and then a few other miscellaneous characters, like some of the cards of the other Vinsmokes, as well as Shanks and Rayleigh and Crocodile, but those ones I don't collect in full, only Sanji, but these are some of his newest card releases and had to pick them up. And then I got a couple of books, so one doujinshi and then one illustration book. And I'm so happy I found this one. It was on Melon Books, and it's by an artist that I follow on Twitter. And I was so excited when I was watching the production of this book happen. They were so excited about going to a doujinshi fair and tabling there. And so I was just waiting for their leftover sale, which was through Melon Books. So I was able to pick up this copy. It's R18, so I'm not going to flip through it, but I love their art style. Look at Sanji. And this is my first Sanzo art book, so Sanji Zoro rather than Zoro Sanji. So happy to have this one now. And then the second book is another artist that I follow on Twitter. I don't have any of their doujinshi, but I wanted to get this art book because it was full color, just different illustrations of theirs, and some of them being doujinshi covers from their previous releases. So I just thought it was nice to have this in a collection on its own. But I like that there's a guide here of what each of the illustrations is from, whether it's a cover, a back cover. I think 1 or 2 are from anthologies, so I'm going to have to go through this and see if there are any that I want to try to hunt down from earlier releases. But I love that it's a collection of probably some of their favorite ones over the past 20 years. So since like 2006, I think, was the earliest release that had a illustration featured. So happy to have this one now. And the last Sanji item is the Ami Ami order that I got today, and it's Sanji's lookup. He's so cute. So I pulled him out of his box right before filming this because I figured he wasn't going to need like a setup. And I'm glad I pulled him out because I didn't realize that the packaging was taped, so I struggled to get the blister pack open, but he's so cute, and I love that he can like tilt his head different ways. I'm so excited to just like find little places to tuck him, and he can just look up at me. But I like the little detail around his clothing, his little buttons and the little creases in his suit. But this is my first lookup figure. I'm more of a Nendoroid collector, but Sanji doesn't have an Nendoroid, so I had to get this one. I saw its release earlier this year, or the pre-order earlier this year for his lookup, but I'm kind of surprised. Like, when I see images of the lookups, I always thought they were little, like maybe the size of a Nendoroid head and then a smaller body and just being cute and little, but they're pretty big. Like, let me get a Nendoroid to compare them. Okay, so comparing Sanji to my Rangha Love of Kill Nendoroid, he is enormous, but it's fine. It's fine though, because he's cute. and I'll be happy looking at him. But I do hope that he will get a Nendoroid release. I would be thrilled. And lastly, I have 3 art books that I picked up with this order, and I was so happy that I was able to get them. So I was really unsure why this past spring there was no A3 anniversary book released. The past 6 years, there has been an anniversary book released, and I've picked them up. Some of them I had to buy secondhand because I was late to collecting them. But this past year, there wasn't a release, unless I missed it or something, but I couldn't find a release. So I started doing some research and found the artist that does all of the character designs for A3 and saw that they were releasing a brand new art book this year. So I did a little research to try to see if it was just their own original characters or if it was A3 content. And it turns out that their newest book is a mixture of both. So their original characters, as well as lots of A3 illustrations. Some of these I already have. A couple of them are the actual, like I have this as a poster from the Beeslog magazine issue, and then some of these are, where'd they go? I know that I just passed them. And then a couple of these, yeah, these ones are the previous anniversary book cover illustrations. So if they look familiar, that's why. So I'm really happy though, because it just has, yes! It just has a ton of illustrations of the characters. So A3 is a mobile game, but it also has an anime, and I'm a big fan of the anime adaptation. I've never played the game, but I love the anime. It's a comfort series for me. But so I found out that the artist was releasing this book, so I pre-ordered it. And while I was waiting for its release, I hunted down their earlier 2 releases. So this one is called Dress. And then their 2 earlier ones are called Dusk and Bright. So again, I wasn't entirely sure because I hadn't found any flip-through videos of what the ratio would be of A3 art to their original characters. But again, I was really happy to see that there was a pretty good balance of their original characters and then some A3 characters. I love this one. Juza and Omi are my favorite characters in A3, so. And then Itaru and Sakyo are my next 2 favorite characters in A3. But yeah, I just really love their character designs, and their interactions in the anime are really funny. But the series itself is about different guys, varying in ages and background. So some are students still, some are in university, and some are working adults. But what they all have in common is that they want to be stage actors, and they meet through the same theater company and form different troupes that perform different genres of plays, So glad I was able to find these ones. These ones were a bit older, so I was a little nervous about being able to find them for a good price, but then also in good condition. So I was really happy that I found a listing. Someone was selling 2 of them brand new together, and it was cheaper getting these 2 than getting the brand new ones. So really happy I was able to find them. But this is everything this time around. I am really happy with my pickups. I was really nervous when they first came in the mail, just seeing the box with the whole corner just cut all the way open, but glad everything arrived safely and happy to have all these new goodies now. I haven't mentioned it in a while, but in my video description, I have a link to my Nyokyo tutorial video where it shows the first time I ever ordered from Nyokyo and how I went about ordering items from Mercari Japan, because it can be pretty intimidating to order from a proxy service when you've never done it before, but it's super easy, and I'm so glad that I took the dive into trying to figure out how to order from Japan so that at intervals I can place orders internationally and just pick up these things that I wouldn't be able to find just from the US, or if I would be able to find them, they'd be like 5 times the price. But looking forward now to getting all this stuff sorted and put up on my shelves. I'm not sure, but I think my next haul video is going to be a combination of manga and manhwa pre-orders that I have coming in, as well as a order from my Korea proxy of manhwa merch that I've been ordering over the past month or 2 that is now on its way to me. So looking forward to sharing all those goodies once I get them in. But hope you enjoyed going through all these goodies with me, and I'll see you again soon in another video. Thanks for watching.